Welcome to the County Commission regular meeting for August 6th, 2024. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Commissioner Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Rivera.
Here.
Commissioner Gosar also here. If you would stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd appreciate it. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3 is public hearing. And Kayla, is there some changes to that?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, and Jennifer, I guess I don't know how to do this exactly. I put the rural schools on this agenda. It's advertised for the 27th. So the public hearing just needs to be removed, and then I'll come back and let you know about the item.
Okay.
Guess it's better to put it on and not be there than not have it on and it's supposed to be. So that just needs to be removed.
Thank you. And so we'll open up the public hearing for Professional Builders LLC zoning district amendment ZDA 03-24. So would anybody in the room like to speak on or in opposition to the Professional Builders LLC zoning district amendment ZDA 03-24? We'll open it up for online for the Professional Builders LLC zoning district amendment ZDA 03-24. Last call, in person and online. On or against Professional Builders LLC zoning district amendment ZDA 03-24. Commissioners, I entertain a motion to close that public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That hearing is closed. Item 4, comments from the public. If you'd like to make a comment from the public, please come to the lectern. We'll go in the room and then state your name. And if you live in Albany County, you don't need to tell us where you live. But if you live outside of Albany County, we'd like to know that. How about online? Anybody like to make a public comment online? Last call for public comment in the room and online. Commissioners, entertain a motion to close the public comment.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 5, disclosures. Commissioner Jones, any disclosures?
I do not believe so.
Commissioner Rivera, any disclosures?
I have not.
And none for me also. Item 6, considerations of changes on the agenda. Bailey, thank you.
I just need to remove number 9, the award, the Title III funds, obviously.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
So I actually have 2. I just got our crime victim witness agreement in yesterday afternoon, so I'd like to add that. It's our agreement with the state for that program.
Do you have a place that you'd like?
That one can go wherever you like. I'll be here to the end. So
Okay.
yeah, I somehow on the agenda again. I don't know how that happened.
Let's put you at 22A,
Sounds great.
crime victim witness.
And then I do have one more. It is a National Council for Mental Health Wellbeing Consulting Agreement. This is for the SOR program. And this one may be put, where were you, Heather? 14. Can we make that 14A, please? So then Heather
Sure.
can get out of here. Thank you.
And that's it.
Thank you. And is that National Mental Health Wellbeing?
National Council for Mental Health Wellbeing.
Thank you. And Jennifer, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yesterday afternoon, Anthony sent me a couple of quotes from Inman Roofing. He had to be out of town this morning. He asked that I present them. One is to seal the interior area of the parapet brick walls and the joints of the parapet coping stone. That's on the courthouse. And the total is $7,583.22. The other is to repair holes in the existing soffit with similar color metal patches, and that is on the IT building. And that total is $2,557.49.
Thank you. Can we put those at item 9?
You can put them clear at the very end if you'd like.
Okay, let's put them at item 9. if you don't mind. Anybody else? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. 7, approval of consent agenda and entertain a motion. Good consent agenda.
Move that we approve the consent agenda. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing that all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. That takes us to the regular agenda, which starts on the page, top of page 3. Present for approval, Mebor culvert quote for the acceptance of the Vaughn Concrete box culvert quote and purchase of the culvert from Vaughn Concrete. Jake, good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. This is for the replacement of the culvert on Mebor or out to Mebor Lake. The culverts currently, they're rusted, they're failing. Rob's had to fix the road a couple of times this year so far because the culverts are rusted through and soil just falls through. We reached out, we've started off bidding this project through our bidding platform, and we didn't get any responses. We got a lot of questions, and the approach to this is the county's going to provide the culvert and Game and Fish is going to install it. The contractors that were interested in this, well, they wanted to do the whole thing. They wanted to procure the culvert and install it, and our RFP was just for the procurement of the culvert. And so when we got no responses to that, we reached out to 4 different contractors to get quotes. 2 of them did not respond. They didn't provide what we were looking for in our specs. And the other 2 was a Vaughn Concrete and Compact aluminum box culvert. The cost of the culvert is about $30,000 and the contact is about $50,000. So we're requesting approval to pursue the Vaughn Concrete. And this isn't, it's a quote, but we have to work through some design aspects that's going to affect the cost of that by maybe just a couple of $1,000s. And what happens is it's just L bar replacements based on how long and how wide our wing walls are on that culvert. So what we're asking for is just the approval to tentatively accept this quote, move forward with Vaughn Concrete, and then once we get a quote on our design spec, bringing that quote back before the board and having that approved. But it takes a lot of work on the supplier's part to design this stuff, and we didn't ask for both of them to provide a full design and one of them waste their time, so that's basically where we're at and what we're asking.
Thank you, Jake. Commissioners. Just kind of point of interest is the aluminum culvert was another half again more. Is that because it lasts longer? Do they last longer? No.
I don't believe so. It's because the fabrication is more and it's a custom fabrication, and with the concrete box culverts, they just form it up with plywood, and concrete's a whole lot cheaper than aluminum, and concrete will last considerably longer. It's more structural and it's just better. I mean, it's going to be a foot thick versus,
Right.
a 1/16 of an inch thick. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions? Now entertain a motion for item 8, please.
I move that we approve the Vaughn Concrete quote for the Mebor culvert work as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 9 is the new Inman roofing that we received from Jennifer here.
Yes, Commissioner. So after Inman finished the roofs, they had a couple suggestions for additional work to be done to ensure that we don't have any issues, not with the roof itself, but with like the holes in the soffit that were there before that were not included in their original bid on the IT building. And then sealing the parapet on the brick walls and joints of the coping stone that's on the roof, just to seal up all of that brick work since we just did the roof again. I believe it's a regular maintenance kind of thing. I don't think it has to happen very often, but they recommended that we do it because it has not been done in a while and helps protect the grouting and the stone and all things, I believe. That's my understanding from Anthony.
Yeah. Any other questions for Jennifer? And Anthony kept me in contact with why they were doing it, because there was some leaking. It was kind of around the roof, I believe, and that was gonna cause us some problems.
Problem over there.
Yeah. So,
We need to repair the damage that's done.
Yes.
any other questions? Jennifer knows all about roofing, so just.
Yeah, really.
Jake's here.
If not, entertain a motion for item 9 then, please.
I move that we approve item 9 is presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries.
Jennifer, I'll see you at my house next week.
Present for approval, item 10, renewal of health insurance with Cigna. Doesn't look like Amanda's here.
I can. Let me look at it here. I don't have.
She's doing ERP this morning.
Mine wasn't in the last. I was trying to, I was trying to find the numbers. Do you have the numbers? Do you have them on here? So
I don't think we have numbers. We're just renewing because our numbers will come in January.
no, they increase in
Now, but
August,
they don't.
but we don't change it for our
Employees and.
employees until January because of the split in the difference. For this year, our recommendation is to stay with Cigna. We have a huge increase again this year for the second year in a row in that above $65,000 cap, that stop loss cap coverage amount. We have some covered individuals within the county who have some very high ongoing claims that will continue to be ongoing. We had a huge jump in our stop loss coverage premium last year, and we have a jump again this year. What Cigna did, instead of doing it all as a big jump last year, they split it into 2 jumps. So our recommendation for this year is to stay with Cigna. There are increases. We don't yet have those numbers in here. We won't have them. We won't increase them for employees until January. At the new policy year, we also discussed that at the beginning of next year, we will go out to RFP for insurance coverage again to see what other plans do with regard to this one large ongoing claimant that we have. And just our plan in general, because now we've been with Cigna, they believe for 2 years, but this claim is new, but it will be settled enough by then for everybody to know that it's ongoing and going to stay ongoing. So then we can compare whether Cigna is the best for the county and for our employees going forward, or if there's a different plan or policy that would be a better choice. But for this year, we were working with Hub, who is great at providing us all the options and working with our Cigna provider and any other provider, I would assume, to get our renewals down as low as possible. They always give us a renewal amount initially, and then Hub goes back to them and negotiates it down quite a bit. So there will be increases. We just,
28.2% increase this year is what it is.
there you go.
And I think like Jennifer has explained, I think if we go with a different carrier, they will laser that claim and our rates will probably be even higher because Cigna is not lasering that claim on us. So.
Right.
We're making the safer bet with staying with Cigna, and Pete's on the health insurance management team as well. It's tough.
It is hard.
It's really hard. So.
And there were a bunch of questions about how could you get a secondary insurance above your stop loss? And since a lot of the stuff is no, it won't make much of a difference,
No.
right? They're just going to charge you what they're going to charge you because the costs are going to be fairly well known. So.
And ongoing for the foreseeable future.
Future, yeah.
They have us over a barrel.
I mean,
Yep, they do.
they
There's no
do, but
doubt.
at the same time, that's what your insurance is for.
I was gonna say,
Thank
I
God
think-
that we have it for our employees.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at a 28% increase, but it's good to know that our employees have quality health care.
Right,
if they
but
do have health
nonetheless, if
issues.
you want it, that's what you
Exactly.
have to pay.
Exactly.
Yep. So,
Commissioners, any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion for item 10, please.
I move that we approve the renewal of health insurance with Cigna.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
aye.
That motion carries. Item 11, present for consideration Professional Builders LLC zoning district amendment ZDA 03-24. David, good morning.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, good morning. So the applicant for this project is Professional Builders LLC. So Grant Lindstrom is here in the audience. He's the owner of that company. If you have questions for him. The location of this proposal is on North 9th. One of the properties has a building address 2791 North 9th. The rest are unaddressed properties. It's just south of, I can't remember the road. The road that goes out to the substation out there. Asphalt Lane, yeah, so it's just kind of south
So
of
it's
there.
27 what?
2791 North 9th. And these lots are within the old Montague addition, if you're aware of that, which you are. I think there's another proposal has to do with just down the road from this on Carroll Street. So the current use of the properties, there's a storage building on one of the properties and the rest is vacant. Surrounding properties to the north, it's a vacant agricultural land. They're zoned agricultural. To the east, they're vacant residential, zoned small lot residential. To the south, there's non-residential commercial zone, there's commercial storage, which is zoned commercial. To the west, there's vacant residential, non-residential storage building, residences and outbuildings across from North 9th Street. And so there's small lot residential and rural residential to the west there. The comp plans, so the Laramie growth area plan suggests higher density, single family residential in the area. The Albany County Comprehensive Plan, it suggests that commercial areas be located at intersections of major roads to take advantage of higher traffic volumes. It's also in Priority Growth Area 1, which is the most growth efficient area in the Albany County Comprehensive Plan. So the request is basically to expand the commercial zoning district that's directly to the south. That would include these lots up here. There's also there's a Pacific Core transmission line that runs through Carroll Street right away. It's not the most attractive for residential development. The proposal addresses all the impacts of the zoning district amendment. The comp plan and the Laramie growth area plan are not clearly aligned with each other on this, looking at this. And the growth area plan doesn't consider the existing commercial area that's contiguous to the property. North 9th Street is designated a collector on the major street plan and has fairly high traffic volumes. The Planning and Zoning Commission had a discussion on this. Their members discussed basically the different ideas and thoughts about the growth area plan. So there's some disagreement there. And they also discussed City of Laramie public comments that were provided for this application. Ultimately, the consensus was in favor of the application by the Planning and Zoning Commission. So a motion was made and seconded to approve the Professional Builders LLC zoning district amendment, adopting and incorporating the findings of fact, staff analysis and conclusions of law, with members Hanning, Kokornik, and Platt voting yes, and members Hinckley and Ben David voting no, and the motion carried. So the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission is to approve this application. I would stand for questions if you have any. And like I said, the applicant is also in the audience.
Thank you.
David, there wasn't anybody at the P and Z from the city to reinforce their comments,
That's correct, yes,
as there isn't today.
correct.
So, David, this clearly, in my opinion, doesn't fit with the Laramie growth area plan. That's considered to be urban, single family, so that would be high density and more in line with the current zoning of small lot residential. Walk me through, I know there is something to the south, but that has probably been grandfathered in, been there for a while, that storage facility. Why we should make the commercial island in small lot residential, urban family, long growth, Laramie growth area plan. Why would make the island bigger? Why would put a bigger commercial island in there? Why, then where do we stop?
Sure.
So do we just
Sure.
continue commercial there, even though it's not been anticipated to do?
Right, right. So, yeah. So as I explained to the Planning and Zoning Commission, our comprehensive plans are policy documents, right? They're there to guide and direct us. They're one of those tools that we use to make decisions. And really, we want to follow what the growth plan says. We want to follow what the comprehensive plan says. And we want to use that. However, when you look at on the ground, there's a high transmission, high voltage transmission line that's running through the right of way. The surrounding areas, that's kind of what they're using it as for, storage units that are not residential. It's not being used as residential property right now. And so I think those two things are the biggest. I mean, even if you go down Carroll Road a little bit farther down, there's actually two other properties that have large storage, non-commercial or non-commercial, non-residential storage units that are being used to store people's personal effects, cars and such. So just looking at that area, I mean, to expand a little bit, a commercial zone that already exists isn't going to break the bank. It's not going to cause a problem in a way that, now they can't do any residential. I mean, commercial nodes are all over the city. If you look in the city of Laramie, there's a little commercial spot here, there's a little commercial spot here with residences around it. So I don't see this as any different than that. Yes, we want to use our our Laramie growth area plan, and really we're going to use that when we create zoning around the city, and we're going to take a really close look at what properties are already being used for and what the plan is suggesting, and then make decisions based on that. When we create these plans, we look at these areas in a big manner. We take broad strokes with a big brush, this is how we want it to grow, but we don't get into the specifics. We're not looking at every property. That's where I think when we do the zoning, we'll use this to make good decisions, and we can put those into our zoning resolution. So looking at weighing all these things equally, the comp plan in a way suggests it. The Laramie growth area plan with that broad stroke is saying rural or just residential. I guess another thing to point out is it's not contiguous to the city. So the city couldn't even provide them anything to create really small lots, right? They couldn't do that because it's not contiguous. They're not eligible for annexation until they're contiguous. And I don't know, guess with all of those things, commercial isn't going to be detrimental to the area, in my opinion.
I thank you for that. I appreciate that. When will we get to the refined zoning? Because I feel like we're existing in this world where we have a plan, and there's no point in having a plan if you don't follow it. But you're telling me it needs to be refined. Where do we get to refined, and how long are we waiting for that?
So we're working on it right now. That's a process that we're starting now that we've got some of the Casper Aquifer protection stuff done. But we're going to come back with you with zoning, hopefully end of this year, maybe. I don't know if we'll get to this point, but at least get to planning and zoning with the recommended zoning that comes out of this plan. And honestly, that's gonna be the best thing, because it's gonna make my recommendations easier. It's gonna make, your decisions easier, because we're gonna have something that's not just kind of this broad policy. It's gonna be, these are the specifics. This is what has to happen. This is gonna be the regulations.
Yeah, and I would add one other group, the developers will have a better idea of what, where to go and what to go with what, right? I mean.
Right.
So, okay.
I think that commercial here is excellent because I don't believe anyone wants to have their residential homes near those big power lines. And I fully support this.
Thank you. Any other questions, commissioners? Okay, I entertain a motion for item, we're at 11 now, 11th, please.
I move that we approve item 11 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed, aye. That motion carries. Thank you, David, appreciate it. 12, present for consideration the renewal of the 2024 mobile home park licenses for Blue Sky Mobile Home Park and Cave RD Mobile Home Park. Joe, thank you.
Morning, commissioners. So we got two more mobile home park license applications and fees and all that kind of good stuff. So this is for the renewal of Blue Sky Mobile Home Park and KBRD Mobile Home.
Thank you, Joe. Commissioners, any questions? Are these the last of them, Joe?
One more.
One more. Ooh, it's only August and yeah, okay. Commissioners, if they don't have any questions, I'd entertain a motion for item 12, please.
I move that we approve item 12 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 13, present for approval contract between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming, and through the Albany County Sheriff's Office and Tracy Young for the Crisis Intervention Coordinator Services. Sheriff Appelhans, good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. This is a contract with Tracy Young to coordinate our CIT program. We have the funding approved through the grant that we have for CIT through DOJ. And so there's also a sole source letter in there as well, to where shows her qualifications to be that coordinator. Even though she hasn't had the official title in the last 2 years that we've had the grant, she's basically has done a lot of this work that we're asking her to do in an official capacity now. And so all we're doing now is just making that more of a formalized process, a formalized contract within the grant, so that she can continue that work and move that program forward here in Albany County.
Thank you, Sheriff. Commissioners, any questions?
I guess this is a question more for Bailey. We got her at Town and Gown here and still assisting a little bit with Andrew. Not anymore.
No,
Okay.
that contract ended. That's why Erin is allowed to contract with her under the
Okay.
CIT grant, because that grant ended. Because we really wanted to make sure we weren't supplanting
Right.
at all. So it made more sense for her to be contracted out of here, because that's really what she's doing
Okay.
at this point. Andrew does, talk to her every now and then if he has questions, but we're not contracting with her for prevention.
So what is her contract price?
I believe it's $25,000.
Sheriff, how many are all of your employees CIT trained, all of the deputies?
No, not all of them are trained. As we bring new ones on, we train them, and some of them that have been trained leave the department as well. So it's essentially an ongoing, ongoing task to get them trained, not only in our department, but all of the other law enforcement departments within the county as well. So, and that was something that we wrote into the grant. We knew that was going to happen beforehand. So,
Well, I'd like to thank you and the LPD. And I don't know if the university, I don't deal with them as often in my day job. But we had an issue a couple months ago that could have been incredibly volatile. But it was handled so well by members of your staff and the LPD to de-escalate and to get the person the help that they needed. was really grateful, and really appreciative. So thank you for taking this.
No problem.
So Aaron, will Tracy be at any point training the trainers?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we've already put her through that training along with myself and a few others as well, so that we can go ahead and put those CIT trainings on, and then train other people to train our officers as well. So,
Because I know Tracy isn't forever going to be around.
no, she's not. And that's, like I said, that we have her kind of coordinating that program, but we have a bunch of redundancy built in so that we can sustain the program even after the grant is completed.
She brings in a lot of people, like our office goes in and trains on Title 25 at CIT. There are a lot of, she brings in a ton of agencies as part of that training as well. And they coordinate with officers who have been trained who also provide some of the training during this program.
So I'd entertain a motion for 13 if there are no other comments.
I move that we approve item 13 as presented. Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Commissioners.
14, present for approval contract between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming, through the Albany County Court Supervised Treatment Program, Adult Diversion Program, and Volunteers of America North Rockies for clinical assessments, DV assessments. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, okay. I've got too many scribbles on my page. Clinical assessments, DV assessments, individual and group counseling for participants. Heather, good morning.
Commissioners, Chairman, good morning. This is our final contract for our adult diversion program that has been in the works with VOA to provide those clinical assessments that include mental health and substance abuse, as well as domestic violence assessments, and providing any recommended counseling that will come from those assessments. They're the third agency that we have contracted with to provide services for our diversion participants. Knock on wood, we have not had to use resources for that yet with our population that we've been working with, but we're just getting our first person right now who will be referred for mental health counseling, and we'll be able to fund that evaluation and assist with costs for treatment.
Commissioners, any questions? I'm just kind of interested in the process. Say somebody is selected for your program with an addiction problem, with an addiction diagnosis, excuse me. What would happen when they go to BOA? They get an assessment, obviously. Do they get an ability to get treatment in Sheridan or Casper, or how does that work?
So our population we're working with on this diversion program, it's more low risk to moderate risk of reoffense. They could have high needs such as substance use or mental health. What will happen is when we first meet with them, we conduct, it's called an LSCMI, it's a level of services, risk assessment, need assessment inventory that we're trained on. And from that, we identify what needs this person would benefit in addressing to change direction of their future, not, being more involved in criminal justice system. If somebody scores high for a need for substance use or mental health, then yes, they would be referred for a substance abuse or a mental health evaluation. They have the opportunity to pick from any of those three providers. And then once that evaluation is done, whatever their diagnosis is at that time. So they're not diagnosed at first. There's just a need identified, and then we send them to the appropriate agency to identify that diagnosis. If somebody comes in at a residential level, we would work with them on the agencies that have a sliding fee scale. There is funding that we have that helps us pay for treatment. So we pay for the evaluation up front, the substance abuse mental health evaluation. They're recommended for treatment. We have worded into all of our contracts if they have insurance. Insurance would be billed, and then the program would pick up any deductibles or copays. And then past that, insurance would pick up. If for some reason, because we can't plan for everything, but we try to, we have, say, a 19-year-old student that's on their parents' insurance that they don't want their parents to know things that are going on here. There would be on a case-by-case basis where we would look at just covering the cost of the treatment versus it being billed through insurance. So yes, but financial assistance available to pay for counseling and evaluations. If that
So
answers.
thank you. And is it fairly easy, probably not to get somebody into residential treatment, or is the backlog pretty long?
Well, we're pretty good pros at it from the drug court
Yeah.
program. So it really just kind of depends. It comes in waves. There's certain programs that don't have a bed or a wait. VOAs, residential programs usually have anywhere from a 4 to 6 week wait. So in that time frame, we would provide just support, monitoring substance use, getting plugged into community resources, case management with our office. So whatever support we could give while we're waiting.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it. Any other questions? Commissioners? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 14, please.
I move that we provide Tina as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Heather, for helping me understand.
Absolutely.
14A, National Council of Mental Health and Wellbeing, please.
Yes, this is brand new. We were just, and it's in the works, that should be presented to commissioners in the next couple weeks. But we were awarded the state opioid response grant. And that grant, we have received that the last few years. This next cycle will be for 3 years, and they are doing 1-year contracts for funding. Part of this grant is that we are required to do what's called a daily living assessment 20. This company that we have the contract for, they're trained to provide a training of trainers for us, where we are able to get our staff trained on doing this daily living assessment, the DLA 20. This is actually after all of the research. It's an assessment that Wyoming statewide actually uses in their behavioral health, anything that is funded by the state. They do this on the mental health side. There are 3 tools that we'll look at using. It is a mental health daily living assessment for mental health, a daily living assessment for substance abuse, and then there's a youth specific daily living assessment. And this will break down. I just had the very first training on it last week, but I think this will give us a more day-to-day accuracy on how individuals are doing in our programs. And I like being able to extend it to juveniles because it brings in family. And, if family's struggling with housing, those kind of things, we're aware of that. We just don't have anything to measure that by. And now we will.
Thank you, Heather. Commissioners, any questions?
So are we approving something, a disagreement or?
Would be approving this agreement, yes. And it would be the cost of the training, which I believe is $9,300, $9,350. It's $8,500 for 2 tools and then an extra $730 for the extra 1 tool. However, we break that out, but that would give us then lifetime rights to the tool. We don't have to renew this. This isn't something that we would have to renew next year. Once we're trained, we have access to it forever with updates.
Nice.
Yeah.
And does this come out of your budget? Yeah.
Yes, it will come out of our, and in talking with Bailey, it'll be split between potentially our SOR budget, because it's required by them. And then a portion out of our juvenile OJJDP grant, since we would use it to benefit them as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not, I'd entertain a motion for 14A, please.
I move that we approve 14A as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Motion
you.
carries. Thank you, Heather. 15, present for approval, diversion of funds from form notifying Wyoming Department of Health, Public Health Division that the remaining $24,114 in funds in the 2022-2023 prevention grant will be reverted back. Andrew, good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. So this is funding that wasn't spent from our previous 2 years of, from the prevention grant. This funding was part of agreements that were with some community partners that wasn't spent. So this is just us returning that funding to Department of Health. So if you have any questions on that funding, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Andrew. Commissioners, any questions? If not, I entertain a motion for 15, please.
I move that we provide item 15 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. 16, present for approval, subrecipient agreement between the Albany County Commissioners and Medicine Bow Nordic Association in the total amount of $11,000 for fiscal year 25. Albany County Recreation Board funding from July 1st, 2024 and June through June 24th, 2025. Bailey, please.
It should be June 30th, 2025.
That seems weird. Yes.
I thought I caught them, but apparently I didn't. All of them will be June 30th. These are just the rec board agreements. Last year was the first year we put the rec board recipients on agreements. So we're continuing that this year. It worked very well. We do have, there's been a couple agencies that didn't quite spend all their money. So when I go to rec board in September, I'm gonna ask them how they would like us to handle that. And what we can do with those funds. So, but other than that, it worked out great. So your next 7 items are this.
And Bailey, remind me, did we have them report at
Yeah.
midterm or?
No, so these ones, they just fill out a request form. In that form, they're supposed to put a little report like how the project's going. It also helps me get more accurate information instead of bugging them right before the rec board meeting. I can just know, okay, if they haven't reported, they haven't done anything, and I can report that to rec board. So it's just a really quick 1-page form, the reimbursement request with they have to return in any receipts that we have, or they have, and then just a quick little blurb on how the project's going.
Thank you.
If there are no more questions, I'd entertain a motion for 16, please.
I move that we approve item 16 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 17, present for approval subrecipient agreement between the Albany County Commissioners and the Laramie Trap Club in the total amount of $12,000 for fiscal year 25. Albany County Recreation Board funding from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Same deal. Any questions for Bailey on the Trap Club? If not, I entertain a motion for 17.
I move that we approve item 17 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Item 18, present for approval subrecipient agreement between the Albany County Commissioners and the Laramie Rifle Range in the total amount of $33,143.16 for fiscal year 25. Albany County Recreation Board funding from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Any questions for the Laramie Rifle Range? Not entertain a motion for 18, please.
Terry, are you good with those 16 cents? 16 cents? Cents. Oh, I do kind of question those, as you all well know that I think, but I think we can handle that 16. I couldn't figure out, because I thought you were saying 16 sets.
Oh.
Sets, S-E-T-S. 16 sets. Okay. I move that we approve, item, let's see, I lost my. 18 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any
And
further-
discussed.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Present for approval subrecipient agreement between the Albany County Commissioners and the Albany County Public Library in the total amount of $20,230 for fiscal year 25. Albany County Recreation Board funding from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Any questions for Bailey about the library? If not, I'd entertain a motion for 19, please.
I move that we approve item 19 as presented. Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing that, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 20, present for approval subrecipient agreement between the Albany County Commissioners and Laramie Bike Net in the total amount of $8,040 for fiscal year 25. Albany County Recreation Board funding from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Yeah, that's a mistake.
I thought I caught, like, apparently that went on your agenda like that last year, because that's what my cover sheet had. But I thought I caught all of them, I'm sorry.
Any questions about, we are bike net? Not, I'd entertain a motion for 20.
I move that we approve item 20 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, sorry.
That motion carries. 21, present for approval subrecipient agreement between the Albany County Commissioners and the Laramie Plains Civic Center and the total amount of $12,983 for fiscal year 25 Albany County Recreation Board funding from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Any questions about the Civic Center? If not, entertain a motion for 21.
I move that we approve item 21 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 22, present for approval subrecipient agreement between the Albany County Commissioners and Common Outdoor Ground in the total amount of $15,310 for fiscal year 25 Albany County Recreation Board funding from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. Any questions about Common Outdoor Ground? Not entertain a motion for 22.
I move that we approve item 22 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. That takes us to 22A, crime victim witness. Please, thank you, Bailey.
So, we received the agreement for the crime victim witness program. The total amount's $207,975. It is for the 1 year, so July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. This money all goes to salary and fringe. Just so you know, for that program.
Commissioners, any questions for Bailey on the crime victim witness?
And
All right, I'd entertain a motion for 22A then.
I move that we approve item 22A as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. 23, present for approval, emergency management, insect management program grant agreement between Wyoming Department of Agriculture and Albany County Commissioners in the amount of $72,495 for the purpose of providing a cooperative mosquito control program within Albany County. Bailey, please.
This is just what I like to call a mosquito grant. It's the agreement from the state, so. Any questions on it?
I'd entertain any questions or comments for Bailey? Not, I entertain a motion for 23, please.
I move that we approve item 23 as discussed, and they did a great job this year.
Yeah. Okay. So now we can hopefully reimburse them for some of their costs finally. The agreement took a while to come in.
Second.
Been moved and
Took a very
seconded.
long
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries.
We did the ranch tour on the 20th of July.
Huh.
Nobody had put mosquito repellent.
Oh, geez.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Wow. Very.
24, present for approval memorandum of understanding between the city of Laramie, Wyoming and Albany County, Wyoming for mosquito control surveillance services in the amount of $6,589.20 through December 31st, 2024.
So part of that grant does require the monitoring of mosquitoes. So we contract with the city to do our monitoring for us.
Commissioners, any questions? Not entertain a motion for 24, please.
I move that we approve item 24 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 25, present for approval, letter of support for the Albany County Rocky Mountain Power Blue Sky Grant Program application. Bailey, please.
So during budget, I approached you about reapplying for this grant. So we're moving forward with that and working with Leo on it. It'll be in front of you at your next meeting, but we wanted to go ahead and get the letter of support in front of you. We are removing the road and bridge building. They did not like that building. So it is just the search and rescue building with that battery attached to it, because that's a requirement for the grant. But this is just a letter of support from you all that you support this project.
Commissioners, any questions?
Can't believe a year passed by.
Well, this one actually was a 6 month, so actually we applied for this in March.
Okay.
While I was out on leave,
Spring.
actually,
Okay.
yeah. So I think they do it twice a year or 3 times a year or something.
Any other questions? Not, entertain a motion for 25.
And with that, we approve item 25 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 26, ratify application to Wyoming Governor's Matching Funds for Infrastructure Investments and Jobs Act grants for reconnecting communities and neighborhoods program. Bailey, please.
So a year ago, we applied for this Reconnected Communities grant for the 30th Skyline and then the bridge over 80. We were not awarded. However, we had really good feedback during our call with DOT that they are encouraging us to apply again. So we're going to. However, matching funds, I did tell them that we couldn't do unless we had additional matching fund support. I reached out to the state. The state did budget additional matching funds like they had previously. So this application's for that application to the state for those matching funds that help with those. What I did put in, I am requesting from you guys that we put in $40,000 and then them put in $360,000. Last year I requested only $25,000 from the commissioners and then $375,000 from the state. But I feel that if it's been a year and we haven't worked on, saving any more money for this project, it doesn't look good at the state level. So that was, we take 10% of that match, they take the 90% of that match was my thought on this one. So I did already submit that. I had an August 1st deadline and I found out about it 2 days before. So it's always good. But that is over there and we are hoping to hear back from them within the month to then submit that letter that we received from them with this big application.
Is there any other questions? And you said the number was 40,000?
So the total match that we're gonna have to have for this grant is 400,000. 40,000 from the county, 360 from the state.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Any other questions? I'd entertain a motion for 26, please.
I move we approve item 26 as presented. Second.
Then moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 27, discuss the remaining ARPA funding. Bailey, thank you.
Okay, so I was hoping to have this final invoice from Fire District 1, but I don't. So we're still gonna have this discussion. And I'm gonna ask for a little direction to then move forward with things at your next meeting. Because I have to have any contract, I have to have this money obligated by the end of the calendar year. So if we have to go for RFP or things, we're gonna move quickly on this one. There looks to be about 214,000 remaining from ARPA after everything that we've already obligated, everything we've funded, everything that currently has contracts. This is what is looking like we have left. We are working on amending the broadband contract because we cannot, it is a 10-year agreement and it cannot be 10 years. It cannot go past the funding. So we're working on fixing that. Along with that though, Adam would like to add in the Fire Station 3 where EMA is at because it's our EOC. That's about $40,000. So then that leaves about $170,000. I have 2 projects that we have been trying to get funding for with multiple sources. My first project is a gate out at Road and Bridge with the security, like with the SARS building that you can just badge in, it opens, closes. We've tried it with Homeland Security with the general, the Homeland Security through Sheriff's Office, and then we also tried it with the COVID grant with KIB's COVID grant because we store things out there in a Connex. None of them will fund it. So that's one of my projects. Also with that project, it's not just security for what's currently out there, but then it also we can put that conference room online, like on our rotation, like
that'd be
available
great.
for.
Yeah.
And then Room and Bridge doesn't have to be there. They can go out and do what they need to do, and nobody has to be there. And I know they're closed Fridays as well. We did get the IT stuff from Kim's COVID grant for that room, so that's on order. So, go ahead. Yeah.
And real quick, being able to badge in, that gives you a electronic record of who's been in there. Where a key, I give them a key, I don't know if they've given the key to somebody else, you know, so. The electronic portion of it in the keyless entry makes a lot of sense in security.
Thank you, Rob.
So that we applied last year, the last application we put in was about $60,000 for that. That was last year. Of course, prices have increased. So he's waiting on a quote from a contractor just to kind of give us an estimate. So that's the first project. The second project is, Adam brought this up when we first got ARPA, and we kind of pushed it off, thinking maybe we could find other funding for it. And that's a digital sign out front, or on this south side. This sign would be kind of like, Adam, are you online or is it Wilson?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Do you want to describe this project? You can probably do it better than I can.
Sure. So it's a new monument style electronic messaging sign base. So the original spec was to, one, decommission the standard base sign that's there, and then provide a new sign set with the updated county logo and branding, and then two, provide us a messaging interface and an outreach interface that can be utilized for all county activities, facilities, and notifications to reach, a huge client base associated with the traffic on Grand. This would be a double-sided electronic messaging sign that, again, could pretty well be utilized by every department.
We tried to get this funded through Kim's COVID grant. They said no. Which baffles me because this is exactly what they want. They want us to use it for advertising, and that's it. But they didn't like to the extent that we wanted to go with it. Other counties have done it, but not to the extent that we're all kind of picturing, that you can actually really see this and you can really read it, and it's not going to be just the wording, it's going to be like the pictures and things like that. So they turned me down. So that's going to cost that. The quote that Adam got me is $136,000. And he said it could come down. These are the two projects I would highly encourage because we're having a trouble finding funding elsewhere. And I do truly feel that they could both benefit the county as a whole. With that, my recommendation would be to kind of split up that money. And Rob said he might have a little extra funding to finish off his if he doesn't get the full funding. Adam says he can bring his down a little bit. At this point, with what we can see is available, my recommendation is like $70,000 to the gate project and $100,000 to the sign project. But I would like to hear from you because it's not my decision.
And Bailey, these have to be awarded by 2024, right?
These have to be under contract by the end of 2024. So December 31st, 2024.
Okay, and then the money actually has to be spent by 2026.
Correct. Yeah, December 31st, 2026.
And Adam,
Yes, sir.
On the signage, I guess you're researching all weather and all that type of stuff?
My research. Yeah, we're looking to make a year, multi-year investment associated with the signage. Are you referring to the durability of the electronic monitor set?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. No, the same spec is anything that's used in standard industry. How do I it's very similar to what we see out maybe in Laramie County, like around the Archer complex. And so they are weathered and weather resistant to the best form that they can be. I will say, we are high altitude with a large UV spec. So we might see a small bit of accelerated deterioration in that form. But the contractors are bringing forward the best product available for our region, and that is what we've asked for.
Super. And then will you have control of that sign electronically? Will you have to plug in, or will you have a wireless control? I'm just hoping that somebody doesn't put a message that we don't want to see on over the weekend.
Sure. We are going to ask for kind of a cloud-based management system on probably a cellular connection of some form, just to segment it from the county systems, but allow a universal accessibility so that it doesn't have to just fall into a single department for management. We can allocate accounts out and management across multiple departments. That's, you don't have to call IT to get an emergency banner set up on there. EMA would have access, or whoever else gets allocated for that. Let me find, and I have a spec if you want to see that. Let me find that really quick too. Would that help kind of some of the visualization?
Sure, that would be helpful to me.
Sure, give me just a moment.
In the meantime, Bailey. Yeah. I like these projects. Should they not be approved, do you have some others waiting in the wing? And
I do not at this point.
Would we have enough time to submit something new if these didn't?
We could, I mean, it's up to you guys. I mean, I have time. I mean, I'm short on time because you're gonna have, if these projects are big enough, they're expensive enough, you have to go out for RFP. What do we usually do, 6 weeks RFP?
No, depending upon what it is, it's usually open for 3
3
to 4.
Yeah, like a
Okay.
month.
Depending upon what it is, but
And
then
timeframe.
it takes a couple weeks to get
Mhm.
back in front of the commissioners to evaluate the proposals, to get back in front of the commissioners. So
Looking at 2.5.
we can get it
months.
6 weeks
6
from the
weeks is
time
tight.
it goes to the commissioners.
Okay.
And we need some time to get it done, so a couple months.
So your next meeting here is August 27th. If through this meeting, if you guys decide, okay, we kind of want to move forward these 2 projects, I would then have Adam and Rob both get RFPs together so they can be in front of you then. Also, I don't have the hard numbers yet. I'm still waiting on that final invoice. I'm also still waiting on that final amendment with the broadband for that final number. So that's why it's a discussion item. I don't want really any decision. I just want a little guidance where you guys want to go, because we're getting short. We have 5 months at this point. If you want to go back out and talk to the rest of the departments, we can do that. It's just adding a little more time, but we can do that. We could send an email and see if anybody else has projects. It's a good amount of money, but it's also not millions of dollars either. So.
Thanks, Bailey.
I like the projects. It would be interesting to see what they come back in. So thank you for Terry.
Yeah, go with it.
Yeah, okay. So I'll have Adam and Rob put RFPs together. Those will be in front of you because I should have all my final numbers by August 27th. Have those in front of you so then we can release them and advertise them and move forward on those 2 projects. This should eat up every last dollar of ARPA, which is what we want. I don't want to have to deal with anything left at the end of this.
Okay.
Well, that'll be a fun final report to send, knowing that you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm still reporting because we still have the broadband contract and the flyover that are through the end of 2026. So, yeah, I can't wait till it's over.
Thank you, Bailey.
Yes.
28, present for consideration the procurement policies and procedures and set a public hearing for September 17th, 2024, and direct the clerk to advertise. Jennifer, please.
So I don't have these to you yet because I'm fighting with formatting and it's winning currently. It's not going to in the long run, but it is currently winning. But I do have one question that I need some direction from this board before they can be entirely finalized. Currently, our RFP amount is, if you have a project that is $25,000 or more, we go out to RFP. I have heard from some of the departments that they would like that number to be higher. Bailey is one of them. Sheriff brought it up also. So just for comparison, the state is at $15,000. for RFP, and federal, I believe, is 50.
No, there's.
It's 150.
250.
Is it 250? Federal's ridiculous for non-grant things. So currently we're at $25,000, anything that or above. So anything under $5,000, we don't do anything with. Between $5,000 and $25,000 that we are required to get 3 quotes and to draft a memo as to which quote we're picking and why. And then anything over $25,000, we go out to RFP. Is there any interest from this board to change that $25,000 number? Do you want to leave it the same?
It'd be interesting to hear why, because I don't know why 25 needs to be higher and how often it causes you drama daily.
With grants, we're dealing with the end of deadline for the grant. It can cause issues because like we just talked about, it can take 2.5, 3 months to get an RFP going or to be under contract. A lot of times I only have a year with a grant. Prices are increasing too. So I would like to see it at 50,000. However, any grant that we have that's passed through the state whatsoever, we have to follow the state's procurement. So we're stuck at that $15,000, which we do have a lot of those. But our direct federal, like Heather SAMHSA grants, her OJJDP grant, those, then we can follow our procurement because it's the most restrictive, and 50 just gives it a little bit more of a leeway, a little less red tape we have to go through, a little less time. So that's why I would like to see it, because we do in the normal world, yeah, there's not necessarily the deadline, but with the grants, we just have that deadline. So
Thank you, Bailey. Tracy, are you on?
Sheriff is also one of the ones who wanted to see it higher.
Yeah, Sheriff, go ahead and then we'll see if Tracy gets on. Please, thank you.
Sure. One of the reasons that I wanted to have a discussion on the increase was to echo the same of what Bailey said. I have some grants through Bailey's office where we're awarded maybe $100,000 in grant money, but then to get a contractor to do that funding, and then I have to go to RFP for it. And not everybody likes to go through that RFP process. And so then we run out into deadlines of trying to spend that money. I have a few other kind of regular purchases that we make that because costs are going up, if we keep it at the $25,000, then I will have to go to RFP for it. The one that comes to mind specifically is outfitting our police vehicles with lights, radios, and equipment on there. We would have to go out to RFP, and there's not a whole lot of companies within the state of Wyoming that do that type of work. And so it would make it much more difficult to get some of that equipment, spend some of those funds that we have by trying to solicit bids for in an industry that's really not well established within state lines, when really we could, like I said, if that process was much higher on there, we could go and get what we needed right away. We'd still be able to get 3 quotes, but we wouldn't be we wouldn't be locked into the kind of that bid process, that timeline. We also wouldn't have to get into the problem of having to submit multiple bids, especially when the first or the second bid fails, where there's no bidders on there, and dragging a process out that could probably take 30 days into 6 or 8 month process.
Thank you, Sheriff. Tracy, are you there? The only reason I would ask Tracy is if that becomes, there you go. Tracy, would you have a problem with moving the procurement number from 25 to 50 from a fiduciary standpoint and from your office's take on it?
I would not. I think that more rising costs and everything, kind of warrant raising that price up, because not many things come in under 25,000 or 50,000 rather these days for those type of contracts.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Commissioners, any other questions? Not entertain a motion for item Well,
Well, just
there's,
consideration.
yeah,
I was gonna say, if it's okay with you, if we can set a public hearing on these for October 8th instead of September 17th.
and then you bring them back next meeting? Is that,
October 1st is a Monday, isn't it?
Let me tell you.
No, October 1st is the Tuesday.
Is it? So yes, I'll bring these fully formatted to you at the next meeting. I've been working on it since Saturday. I don't know what I did. It's broken.
okay,
Okay, and I will change that amount to $50,000. Is that what?
That's our direct.
Okay, thank you.
So you're saying October 1st meeting?
We will set it at the next meeting.
So you'll bring them back
Yeah.
forward on the
Okay.
meeting.
do you need us to table it? Or,
You can take no action, I suppose.
Yeah, you can just take no action. That's fine.
okay. Commissioners, you all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. 29, present for approval, contract between the Board of Commissioners of the County of Albany, Wyoming and adbay.com doing business as Kalen Marketing Solutions for advertising Albany County Public Health Services at University of Wyoming sporting events. Katie or Kim?
Kim couldn't make it. So this is going to be paid out of Kim's COVID grant. Like I said, both those other projects I brought forward would not fund this, or that this grant wouldn't fund. However, they will fund advertising at the UW sporting event. We're gonna sign a contract for 2 years. It'll be about $160,000 for those 2 years, and it'll spend a good chunk of them. So.
Bailey, is this Kaylin who did stuff for?
Correct. Also has done things for public health previously
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, she's good.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I entertain a motion for 29, please.
I move that we approve item 29 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 30, present for approval the amended petition to vacate submitted by Ronald G. and Valerie A. Schreibeis, accept the viewer's report, require the Schreibeises to have a licensed surveyor prepare a geographical survey, including legal descriptions of the property to be vacated and legal descriptions for the property that will transfer to each adjacent landowner, and provide said survey and legal descriptions to the county, set the deadline for objections to the proposed vacation and claims for damages by reason thereof not to be less than 30 days after the board's acceptance of the petition, and to direct the clerk to publish the public notice of the deadline for objections and send a notice by registered mail to all persons owning or claiming an interest in lands over or across the proposed area to be vacated.
I'll clean up that language for the next time. Sorry about that. So Schreibeis, when we originally brought this to you, their original petition was asking to vacate Carroll Street on the south, Newton on the west, and then the alley in between. They own the entirety of the block and they wanted to vacate the alley in between. After Karen did her viewer's report, reached out to the county and the city, both county planning and city planning were concerned about the vacation of Carroll because of that connection from 9th to 15th. So Schreibeises requested to amend their petition to remove the vacation of Carroll and just are now requesting the vacation of the section of Newton that is between the block they own and the block that another landowner owns, and then the alley that runs between the middle of their property. And that is consistent with not only the viewer's report, but also the recommendations of city and county planning.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any questions, commissioners?
Not for Jennifer, huh?
Okay. Not entertain a motion. So this will just, oh, sure.
Do you want me to say my
Yes,
spiel?
you please.
I was gonna say.
Chairman and Commissioners, the proposed vacation is situated in Township 16 North, Range 73 West, Section 28, the dedication plat of Montview Addition, Albany County, Wyoming. It encompasses an area that is west 80 feet by 284 feet adjacent to Block 48, lots 1 and 12, also known as Newton Street.
Additionally, it is also includes an alley measuring 20 feet by 264 feet in block 48 of Montague Edition. The map of the proposal to vacate in Exhibit 4, it does include the area south of block 48, lots 1 through 6, also known as Farley Street. But Anthony Valdez, the CMT manager with Coffee Engineering and Survey, submitted an amendment to Shreba's petition on July 19th, 2024. This amendment, marked as Exhibit 3, is attached in the viewer's report. The amendment excludes the portion of Carly Street from the proposed vacation, like Jennifer mentioned. That is, in my opinion, as a viewer, I support the vacation of the portion of Newton Street along with the alley in block 48 of Montague Edition. I don't foresee any impact on access to surrounding properties or the flow of traffic on the right of way. If the vacation is approved, the applicant needs to provide a new geographical survey of the property to be vacated, including legal descriptions for the portion of the vacation that will transfer to the petitioners. The survey should be completed by a licensed surveyor and recorded by the county clerk. After this, the commissioners will prepare a quitclaim deed for the petitioners. Regardless of the commissioner's decision regarding the proposed vacation, maintenance of Newton Street and the alley in block 48 of Montague Edition and the underlying right-of-way should not be the responsibility of Albany County.
Thank you, Karen. Commissioners, any questions? So I just want to make sure I understand what's being proposed. Do they own the Schreibises, everything on both sides of Newton?
No.
No.
They
Yeah,
own
they
the
own
east side of Newton, and there's a single owner that owns the west side of Newton.
Okay.
So I will tell you what my assumption would be that we do like we had done previously, where when we vacate the street, we divide it between the property owners on both sides.
Yeah.
If that's not what you want, we can certainly do something different.
So right up to on the east side there, is there any marker right now where, you know, that path goes now, that's city off of 15th and it's the ridge?
That's more
Blue.
southeast.
I was gonna
Okay,
say, I
so
don't think
You're
that's,
talking, so it doesn't come that far south.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe
don't
it's
go up to that
adjacent
property.
to this property at all.
Okay.
And so this will just open up the comment for 30 days to see if anybody is in opposition to that.
This would be you guys approving that petition and saying it's going forward. And then if anybody has objections, they have to raise their objections and claims for damages. And then we would go into the damages portion of a hearing if we needed to.
Okay.
But this is the commission's acceptance of the petition and saying, yes, we're moving forward with this vacation.
But it's not the final. We could come back and say, we got reports from somebody who said, hey, you know, that we're not considering today. And we could say, well, yeah, no, we're not. That carries the day.
Well, generally, no.
Too.
Because what you're saying is you're accepting this petition. If somebody comes in with damages, because what you're saying is there's no impacts based on what Karen has done, any of those things, that there are not any impacts to the big things that you look at, the future use, future growth, all of those things. So you're saying it's appropriate to vacate these things. If somebody else comes in and says, I use that to access whatever, and I should get paid damages because now I have to come in from the other way, then there's a whole process outlined in the statute for how we go about determining damages. If there are damages, it's something that the petitioner has to pay, all of those things. But the commission's position at this point is to either approve or not approve the vacation itself.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's just kind of surprising that this would be approved by the city of the county, and just because of future growth. This is a anticipated street that.
Carroll is, but Newton is not.
Okay.
Because of the way that the city, there's a cul-de-sac on the city side. So Newton would never come all the way through. And Carroll that we're leaving is that connector between 15th and whatever other street is out there. So that's the one that everybody said that needs to be left open. But other than that, just that connector between the two, no one was concerned about.
Okay.
Or the alley because of the common ownership, both of both of those blocks, those adjacent blocks.
Okay, and so there's no Carroll and just Newton and the alleyway.
Correct.
Perfect. I got my questions answered. Anybody else? Okay. I'd entertain a motion for item 30, then,
I
please.
move that we approve item 30 as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it. 31, present for approval, the request for proposal for design and installation of 25 kilowatt solar arrays on both the courthouse and 501 East Ivinson. Direct the clerk to advertise.
I just realized that RFP is sitting in my drafts because I was gonna attach the policies and procedures and it didn't go out. This RFP was put together at Pete's request to put solar on both, to get pricing to put solar on both the courthouse and the IT building. So the RFP is ready to go. I'll send it as soon as I sit down. To get published, to see about getting quotes and all of those things. What I don't have in the RFP is if there's going to be a walkthrough and what on the cover sheet. I think I noted I wasn't certain if you had identified a funding source, if we needed to at this point.
I hadn't identified a funding source. I talked to Kayla and Tracy if they have the opportunity. Or if there just needs to be more, when we get an RFP back, we need to know what that is.
I think we need to know what that is. I mean, we've got some funding in 1%.
Okay.
But I don't know what that cost is gonna be, so.
Right.
We only have 100,000 in there.
Yeah.
Can I have a little information I found? So I talked to Leo because, I was like, Leo, what if we change our application because this is more of a public facing building, which that grant likes. And he said that he doesn't really recommend changing our application on that one because of what the offset would do. So the SARS building is 109% offset. This building's only an 8% offset, and the IT building's only a 65% offset, is what he said. Each of these, this building would be about 101,000, he said, with a rough estimate, and the IT building said it's about 95,000 rough estimate. Just so you guys know.
When you say offset, what do you mean by that?
It'll pay for itself.
The cost and the recapture part.
So the amount of electricity that's off, that is produced versus the amount that's used currently will be those. And so the reason I asked for this is there are 30% IRA direct payments for solar arrays. Plus, I think we qualify in this part of Laramie for an additional 10% onto that. So that's solar array with 40% off. So we would upfront the cost, and then the federal government will reimburse us by check or direct pay 40% of the cost of the solar arrays. So.
And we had looked into that program when we were talking about SAR because that was included as part of Leo's bid for that. Hopefully Leo will bid these also so we can have all of that information again, because that was helpful when we had it for the SAR building.
Do you know if you can apply as many times as you want for that? I'm just curious. I
believe it's by project, but somebody else is much more expert than I. I've
just
to a
having a
few
hard time
webinars.
finding information on any IRA stuff.
Yeah.
It is very vague. It is poorly put together.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked. I can't find things.
Well, I'll look and then.
I found some things I'll send you that I had sent Tracy previously because I didn't know what it was when Leo's original proposal for SAR came through. So I did a bunch of research because I was like, I don't know what that is. There's so many things we don't qualify for. I wanted to make sure it was something we did, and we did for that project, but I don't remember the specifics.
Yeah. Commissioners, any other questions? If not, entertain a motion for 31.
I move that we approve the RFP for the design and installation of the solar arrays on both the courthouse and the 501 Ivinson's building and direct the clerk to advertise.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. 32, present for approval, application for catering permit for Yasu Inc. Doing business as Third Street Bar for Tom Horn Days to be held at 1515 Two Rivers Road, Plaza, Wyoming, on August 16th, 2024, from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m., August 17th, 2024, from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m., and August 18th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Looks like we got a hootenanny again. Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Yes, Ransell comes in every year for his Tom Horn Days. They're gonna have Third Street Bar cater it. It is on the agenda for this evening for the city to allow the Third Street to use their license in the county. We'll get that letter from them after their meeting this evening, but everything is in order.
Thank you, Kevin. Commissioners, any questions? Now I entertain a motion for 32, please.
I move that we approve item 32 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. 33, make appointment to the Albany County Historic Preservation Board. Our applicant had an emergency and could not be here today. So I'm not sure what you would like to do. We only had one applicant for the opening.
Yeah, looking at her application, she's more than capable of doing the work sitting on this board. I know Siobhan personally and highly recommend her as an individual as well as a member of this board. So I'd like to proceed and just make the appointment since we only got the one applicant.
I entertain a motion for 33 then.
I move that we appoint Siobhan Kelly as to the Albany County Historic Preservation Board.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. 34, approve vouchers for July 2024.
I move that we approve the vouchers for July 2024.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Seeing no more business before the Albany County Commission on August 6th of 2024, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thanks, staff. Thank you for everybody who's joined us today, and we will see you on the 19th, right? Is that
Yep, 19th we'll have our special meeting to approve payroll and vouchers and then our